well. Your Mandarin is better than mine. Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Okay,
Okay,
great.
Mark, I believe you're a visionary entrepreneur, and you said that one day you want to create great things and be up there making the best of your life. How has this translated into reality today?
So, Desi, thank you so much for the opportunity, to connect with you here. I'm really excited. So, coming back to your question, how has it materialized today in terms of my vision? I would say that we are 40% there, right? It's not at the end state where I visualize it to be yet, but again, it's in the plan of, it's a 5 years plan, right? So definitely we are getting there slowly. But what I'm glad is that with the consistency and the persistency, in a short period of 3 years, we have opened up a lot of doors that I never thought possible,
Wow.
or even some of those opportunities that is drawing us closer to the vision, are things that I've never seen it, when I started the whole journey of my entrepreneurship, or when I started Farm. So along the way, some of these opportunities, will realize that, why I haven't seen it from that angle. So, yep, it's interesting.
You still got a long, it's nice that you've got something to still strive for and move towards. So I wanted to say a little bit about your journey that brought you to the health side of things, because you have a very interesting story that guided you, and a very personal story that guided your journey. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. And just quickly, right? I mean, I came from a corporate background. All my life after graduating, I was in the corporate world, really successfully holding key positions in the top 3 companies that is the largest in the world, right? And I think what didn't strike me was about being an entrepreneur, right? It never came up to my mind. I never thought about it because for me, I was really comfortable where I was ambitious, and I was always looking for promotion and to hold regional, global roles, having more power by having more portfolios in it. And long story short, it hit me so hard when I got a call from my mother when I was living in Berlin, Germany for 2 years. And the next thing, I flew back to Singapore. I was in the hospital, and my father was told on that day, when he was sitting just right beside me, that he was diagnosed with a stage 3 cancer of the nose, throat, lung, and liver.
Mm.
Now, imagine someone that you love and you never ever thought that that person could be so sick, common flu, fever, lack of energy. I think that is something that, our elderly parents, will go through. It's normal. But to suddenly get that news really hit me. I wasn't prepared for it. None of us in the whole family was prepared for it. My father wasn't prepared for it. But what really destroyed all of us that hour was when the doctor said to him that he was only having an estimation of 6 more months to live. Now, we had zero clue about cancer, right? And again, imagine this: if today you have someone that you love, and you were told that they only have this period of time left. So we were really desperate, right? The doctors, of course, suggested that my father is being put on an intensive radiation treatment, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and back then something new called immunotherapy, right? So what happened was that we consulted a few more opinions, and 5 other doctors suggested the same. Eventually put my father through that treatment. In a short period of 3 to 4 months, my father lost his eyesight. He became paralyzed. He wasn't able to eat because his throat was destroyed by the radiation treatment. It was so painful that, he can't even swallow soup for that matter. And the list went on, right? I mean, the pain was so unbearable that painkillers could no longer take away the pain. We had to ferry him to the hospital to get morphine jab. And it didn't end there, and that was when I realized that, wow, taking care of a sick elderly person, it's not only physically tiring, it was mentally tiring. And I've shared this with close friends of mine, that something that I still regret until today was when I suggested to my family members that probably we should send my father to a home. You know, raising up in an Asian family background, you know, as a young child, I always promised my parents that I would never ever send them to a home, no matter how old or how disabled they are. But I never thought that that day would come where I felt like it was so impossible to manage him, you know. And he really wanted to give up on the 4th month. He said, you know what, Mark, just, I'm going to die anyway. Just pull the plug on the treatment. Let me, you know, enjoy the remaining days that I have so that I can go fast and not slowly and painfully. So we agreed with him. We stopped that treatment, you know, soon as my father had that conversation with us on that day. And I called up the doctor. I was having so much anger. And I told the doctor that it wasn't cancer that was killing him, but it was your treatment that was killing him. And there's nothing we could do about it, right? We went into a huge financial problem because we were burning cash close to $600,000 for his whole treatment in that short few months. And I just could no longer concentrate on my work. And of course, that fear, like, you know, that few more months that my father have, what am I going to do? Right. So I was really desperate. I was calling every single person asking that, you know, have anyone survived cancer? Just tell me what to do. And that was where I discovered juicing, you know. And of course, when I say juicing, I'm not talking about those juices that we buy in the supermarket, those boxes juices, but it was really organic juices that are homemade. They are 80% to 90% vegetables. And I got this whole perspective and the whole idea from Dr. Charlotte Gerson. You know, she was an amazing lady. I was really blessed to meet her at that point of time. And that was what we were only able to introduce to my father's diet because, you know, he could not eat anything. That remaining 2 months or less that my father had, we managed to turn his life around to another 4 more years.
Wow.
And you know, as I share with you right now, his story, I didn't carry with me only one regret. I carry with me many regrets. One of the biggest regret ever that I have to live with until today is when he passed away, I never had a chance to tell him how much he really meant to me, how much I love him. And you know, that day when I saw him in the coffin and you know, going through the whole process of cremating him, it was really, really difficult. You know, the moment when you saw the door close, that person that you love wasn't able to talk anymore, they are burned into ashes. I felt everything was lost. It was only memories. And for me, I think that is the biggest regret that I'm still finding it a challenge to let go. I hope with time it will help. And that was where I got really, really frustrated. Where along the way, when we were looking for answers to his health, and I realized that many health experts do not know what they're talking about, right? When it comes to curing cancer patients. And again, no one has answers to cancer, right? There are no guarantees. But what is frustrating and what saddens me is that just because we learn radiation treatment in medical school, that doesn't mean that an oncologist or a health practitioner should always tell cancer patients of any stage, any cancer, whether it's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, that you should go for a radiation treatment. We have to understand that every human, the body is different. Every stage of the cancer is different, right? And secondly, what frustrates me most is that people are always just pushing the whole idea about health that you need to eat more vegetables. It's not about that, right? There are many combinations there, and understanding different traditions, different cultures. You know, not everyone could eat vegetables. Even in the Western world, I got friends that can't eat so much vegetables. They say, Mark, I'm not a rabbit, you know? So I think, and every time it's the same thing that's been pitched. And the worst part is how many products today that is on the shelf that is labeled healthy, that is labeled natural, or even the organic. In reality, close to 70% of the food on the shelf are all crap.
Wow.
There are no no truth behind it anymore.
Yeah.
And it becomes very something that I said, you know what? I really wanted to go and challenge, you know, the big bodies, the pharmas, even the government in the health sector. I mean, for me, what the heck are all of you, Ministry of Health, doing that, right? And it really, that was how it all started, right? It wasn't about, oh, I wanted to lose weight, you know, I wanted to be healthy like everyone else. It wasn't about that. It was just pure anger, frustration, and I was channeling this in terms of how many people that need that solution at a point of time when my father was going through, or when I was going through, and how could I share with them my experience, right? And again, knowing that sharing from experience alone is not enough. So I say, you know, I'm going to dedicate my time, get myself certified. I need to study medicine. I need to study bacteria. I need to study disease. So there was a totally 360 switch.
Wow.
From a person that is in supply chain in IT, right? Going into totally a microbiologist and nutritionist. So I think it was really interesting. And yeah, that was how basically the whole journey started for me and Farmz and of course the amazing brand that we have created, the Asiajuiceguru.
Wow. So how do you go from all that anger and all that channeling to what's the process? How many years did it take you to study this and then to kind of form a product and to create what you've created? It's amazing story so far.
So thank you. All right. So for me, it's going through the whole the whole microbiologist nutrition background took me about 5 years, but you know, to set up the whole business, it took us 37 months to hit multi-million. And again, number is just a number, right? It's just a trick to know that, you know, are we growing correctly? You know, are we having all the right elements of business like leadership, strategies, system in place? But I think what was really interesting was that when I started Farmz, the first year, right, we started just by, okay, I gotta go out there and I gotta tell people that we have been brainwashed to think that juicing is bad by all or majority of the health experts, because simply people don't understand, you know, about juicing. There is no education. I wouldn't even use the word lack of education. There was technically no education. Every article, every person that goes on stage and say juicing is bad, avoid, there's a lot of sugar, there's no fiber, right? But for me, that has to change, because again, you can't generalize something, right? It's like you can't say that all grain or all rice or all carbs are bad. They are good carbs and they are bad carbs. The only question is, what is the right carb for us? So it comes back down to the same concept for juicing. You know, if you are drinking a bunch of, you know, highly processed juices that are filled with sugar, of course it is bad, right? If you're only drinking orange juice every day, of course it is bad. But if we are drinking 80% vegetables in it, organic vegetables, it's different, because considering that today, every human being requires a minimum of 3 to 5 kg of vegetables consumption and fruits in our day-to-day. And this number is researched by Harvard Medical. Many of us don't have that amount of vegetable intake. Right? To be honest, after observing, studying more than 5,000 patients of different ethics group, nationality, and etc. And that is why today people are getting more and more sick. So we say, okay, you know what? We're going to start educating juices and we're going to provide a convenience. So we say, okay, we're going to sell cold press juices. That 1 year was horrible. We were losing money. I had to swap every single credit card of mine that I was having available, because after my father's, you know, medical bills and my cash was all, my savings was literally burnt out. So it was so much, you know, fear, you know, of how, not so much of failing, but so much of how am I going to sustain, you know, the business? Where is it going to be? How are we going to hit in a couple of months, not even years? And we, you know, we were only making 30,000 for 12 months, right? That is how miserable it is. And of course, we were really blessed in that short 12 months of failure, or I would take it as a lesson, in fact, for me, which was really, really important. We were able to turn it around. And in the next 12 months, we managed to make, 1.4 million, right? And positive, right? So that was,
What changed, Mark? What was the switch? I mean, from going from that to like, what was your approach different? Your marketing different? How did you get the different people to start to believe in your product and make the switch?
So there are a few components that we did differently that for me allowed us to really have that 360 degrees of thriving, right, from surviving. Number one is basically changing the whole business model. All right. So again, we went from selling cold press juices to an education company. Now, you can't stand on the counter telling people how good the juice is that you're supposed to be drinking with few hundred people walking into the stall every single hour or every single minute, right? It's just not possible. And again, if today we are playing a retail game where you're going to have like 1,000 outlets nationwide, how are we going to train our staff, every employee, to be able to communicate and educate every consumer? It's just not realistic, right? I didn't see that part there. So when we pivoted, it was really just going to an education company. So instead of selling products, we were giving value, we were educating people, right? And we were selling consultancy. That is number one that allowed that huge shift. So we were conducting workshops, literally, right? For people, I don't sell juices. People come, I teach them how should they be making not only juices, but food that is relevant to their health condition and relevant to the health goals that they want. Because again, no point telling another person like, be healthy, eat more fruits and eat more veg. Everybody knows about this, but again, how sustainable it is and what do I need to do, right? Because I'm not a rabbit, I can't be eating carrots every day. Number two, what we did differently was marketing and branding. Something that I did not understand the power of it and the moment, right? And I'm just going to share some of this valuable information for all your audience that are listening to this interview right now, which is really important. It doesn't matter what business you are in. It doesn't matter what size you are in, right? Always give people what they want, not what they need. Now, we were going out telling people, hey, you got to be healthy. Otherwise, you're going to have cancer. You're going to have heart disease. You're going to have obesity. You got to eat this. You got to drink this, right? You got to do this. Now, guess what? No one cares.
It's true.
No one cares, right? And who are the people that care? That 1% that is laying on the sick bed in pain. These are the people that say, Mark, anything you want me to eat, I will do it, because they can't take the pain anymore. Now, 99% of people will not bother, right? But what people want to look good, right? People want to feel confident when they walk out, they want people to tell them how beautiful they are, how great they are, and so for us was literally giving people what they want. They want to feel that instant energy boost. They want to see their skin glowing. These are all the desires of every single person, right? Doesn't matter how smart you are, how rich you are, everyone wants this. So we said, hey, look here. Now, to convert them to eating real food nutritiously, it's difficult. We're going to die trying for another century and that's not going to work, right? So let's help them to lose weight fast, because I was 95 kg. I was on 13 pills a day. I had a whole long list of health conditions. I had my first stroke at the age of 27. I was on blood thinning pills that I was able to get off in 1 year, and most people can't get off their entire lifetime. And I changed all of that, right? In 3 months, in 90 days, right? When my doctor said, probably, Mr. Leong, I could help you to reduce your dosage. But guess what? Now I'm 9 years medication drug-free.
Wow.
I've never felt better, happier, much more energized compared to even in my 20s and even my 30s, right? So I say, you know what? This is something that everyone wants to have.
True.
And that was where we launched the From Flabby to Fitting in 23 days program, which allowed that massive curve in the business to go from this way to this way, right? So giving what people what they want. Now, of course, during that whole 23 days of process, when people are slimming, they are looking good, they have to change and improve their eating habits. Right? Then I realized that it's easier then to bring them to that path of what they really need. Because guess what? After 23 days, the taste bud has changed. The junk food that they used to enjoy doesn't mean that they won't have that craving. They still crave for it, but when they eat, they can no longer eat so much, or they no longer feel that it's so tasty.
23 days, right? 23 days is what takes the whole process.
Number, right? So that is what helped us to really continue to be a big organization that we are today. The third thing that we did differently was we went into social media. I always thought that social media are for kids, right?
Yeah.
And my concept of running a business is a brick and mortar business. The bigger your building is, the better it is. And then the stress came in, like, how are we going to service the rental? You know, how are we going to optimize the space? You know, so then when we went into social media, and it was just purely based on value. I wasn't there to sell anything. We were just purely putting value every single day consistently. Then the number of followers started to grow. And one video that put me on the map overnight was this video called Are You Cheap, Fast and Fake that has today gathered 2.4 million views, right?
Can you repeat the name, Mark? I think I've seen the one I've seen. Could you repeat the name of it?
Are You Cheap, Fast and Fake?
Yes, that's
so we hit more than 1 million views in just 1 week, right? It went viral. People were telling me, Mark, my relatives, my friends say, Mark, my friends are circulating this on WhatsApp, right? Now people were loading the videos on YouTube, and it was just going crazy, right? I was getting so many calls from government of different countries, schools, organizations asking if they could use the video, asking if I can go in and talk, you know, provide speech. So then I think it was really amazing, because that opens up a lot of doors, right, for public speaking and B2B opportunities. But also I think what was really, really inspiring is that the amount of people that message was able to inspire. And again, that is how today the Asiajuiceguru is a brand that I'm really proud of, and my whole organization is proud of, that we have created, right? So these are the three, I would say, big key things that we did in the early days that allowed us to turn the business around. So, but of course, along the way, you know, when after hitting that 1 million to hit 3 million, to hit 5 million, 10 million, and 20 million and above, it requires very different skill sets, very different process, very different system for that.
Oh, amazing journey. And I know that a very big part of what you do now is to continue education within schools and to keep, you know, the younger generation interested. Are you involved in a charity that does that? Or is that just your company going into schools promoting healthy lifestyle?
So no, we don't work with any organizations, because again, I have this fear that the funds are mismanaged. You know, where only certain percentage goes to that cause, and the majority fits, you know, the management and etc. So what we did was we said 10% of our revenue, right, not profit, revenue, would go to our mission to basically, I call it the Asia's Food Revolution, where we would go to schools and do three things. Number one is to convert all the school gardens nationwide in the next 5 years to edible gardens. Number two is by providing food and nutrition workshops in schools, 30 minutes once a week. Not those talks where you tell all the kids, hey, you have more vitamins, because kids don't really care. But kids want to have fun, right? And really workshops that let them do like noodles, like bread, but making from real ingredients, not refined ingredients like white flour, white sugar, so that they understand food better. Right? Because today, again, the problem I see not only in Singapore or Malaysia or Southeast Asia, but across the world, right? Kids don't know what food they are buying, what is made of, and that is where a problem comes in. And again, every health practitioner, every government in the Ministry of Health is telling people you got to eat more healthy, you got to avoid diabetes, but they are not educating people. We're telling people the problem, right? So that is the second thing that we are doing in schools. And of course, the third thing is that I wish to see that at least there is one store in the canteen in each schools that serves real food. Not those crap food that we see today massively, right? And yeah, so these are the three things that we cover in this movement. And yes, we are doing it based on our turnover. And that is just one piece of action that we are doing. The other piece of action is where I bring my whole team and my community of my clients to one third world country every year, where last year we basically went to Cambodia. We installed water filters, right? Because the water supply there, it's inconsistent and it's really, really dirty. The year before, we installed solar panels, things that are sustainable. And again, it comes back to our whole mission statement, our core values, because we want to make a difference in people's lives. So that is what we are driving towards.
So Mark, what are some of, like, let's say people want to start their health journey and, they're finding it daunting because there's so much contrasting information out there. What would some of the basics be for them to begin if they were to take anything? Like, where do we start? We hear so much. What would your advice be, like starting your health journey and, making changes?
Thank you. I think that's a really relevant and important question here. So I'll just share a few very important things that I believe, and more importantly, it has helped my amazing celebrity friends over the years when they came to me for nutrition support, right? Number one, make it simple, right? Make it simple, avoid all the complexity. Now, what do I mean by that? Every now and then you will have different experts coming out, introducing another diet. And you got, today someone tells you that this is good. Just for example, coconut oil, 3 years ago, everyone says it's great. And then just last year, people were slamming me saying that it's bad, it causes cholesterol, right? So it's so complicated, and we are always in this position, like who to trust.
100%.
How to validate things, right? So number one is keep it simple, go back to fundamentals, right? So what is that recommendation when I say go back to fundamentals? Eat real food. That's it, right? If you want to eat the chicken, eat the real chicken breast, chicken drumstick, not chicken balls, chicken nuggets, chicken sausage that has been processed that you have no idea what it is made of. That is number one thing, right? Because it's so important. Number two, understand that not all diets are the same for everyone. Whatever that works for you may not work for me. Whatever works for me may not work for you, simply because all of our body is different. I've got people that they continue taking carbs and they have their six packs.
Wow.
On the other hand, I have people that are taking carbs even very little, but they are very, very flabby because the body is different, right?
Yeah.
So what is the second thing? Don't focus on the food that we are, what's the portion on that, right? Focus on nourishing the body, right? Again, it's so important that to understand that nobody cares about eating healthy. But it's so important that today, if I ask you this, right, Desi, if this cup or this glass of soup, right, or juice that you're going to be drinking is going to help your body to repair the damages that you have suffered over the last 1 week from not sleeping well, just an example, right? And versus glass B is going to make you healthy. Now, which one are you going to take, the A or the B?
The A, of course.
The A, right? So making people understand that not eating healthy, right? It's an overly used and abused word. Focus on nourishing the body. That is the critical part. Thirdly, again and again and again, right? When I say nourishing the body, not by taking supplements, is another misconception. People think that, okay, it's okay if I don't exercise, I start buying, 20 bottles of different minerals and vitamins, right? Guess what? You are only destroying your liver and your kidneys.
No.
And you can't even measure, right? That supplement you're taking, is the body absorbing it, right? So this is a big misconception that the pharmaceutical companies have painted that picture successfully. Now, guess what? Our ancestors didn't rely on supplements. They only came in the last 15 years aggressively because everyone wants things fast. So juicing is really, really important, right? I will not say even it's a nice to have. It is an important element for every one of us, whether you are in the east or in the west part of the world. Why? Because you need that amount. All of us, that minimum amount as an adult of vegetables and fruits in our body. And the only way is what? You pump in through a liquid form. Because then the concern comes in, hey, Mark, there is no fiber. Don't focus on the wrong issue. First of all, if you are not eating enough, why are you looking at the fiber? Unless you tell me that you can eat 3 to 5 kg of vegetables, right? Nobody can hardly do that. Even a vegetarian can't do that every day. You can do that maybe one day. You can't do that for 10 days, 1 month. So fiber is not the biggest concern. The biggest concern why today people are not losing weight, why people are having disease, why people are having energy dip, because they are not feeding the body with the right minerals, vitamins, and nutrients. So juicing allows the body to tick that box there. And it helps the body to basically process it, absorb faster. It doesn't have to be juice like water, milk, soup, anything that's liquid. Our body takes instantly up to 30 minutes to digest. When you eat something solid, our body needs to take time to break that, right? Minimum 6 hours of digestion time. But again, not everyone has that perfect digestive tract, because some people take even 2 days to digest that piece of steak. And your energy drops because why? Not because of the steak, because your body is focusing on trying to break down that food. Right? So these are the 3 basic secrets on how one, to look good, feel good, and really living in that part of wellness when it comes to diet, right? Again, encourage the 3 things to make you healthier, because I do not know what is your definition of healthy, and all the audience that's listening to this interview right now, because some people's healthy, you might want to live longer. Some people's healthy want to be pain-free. Some people want more energy, more vitality. Some people want to be on medication-free. So everyone has a different definition of what healthy means. But again, that is not the biggest concern. The biggest concern is that, are you nourishing your body well?
Yeah, good. And what are you saying, like replacing most meals for juicing, or are you saying like, how in proportion to what? Like have a lunch meal and then juice breakfast and dinner? Like what's your plan for the day on that?
So again, I think God gave all of us teeth for a reason. So never go on any form of liquid food, right, for far too long. When I say far too long, means what? Nothing more than 30 days. All right. So for me, what I personally do, every day is that I will incorporate a glass of I call it the revival method, where that 80-20 juice, 80% vegetables, 20% fruits, and even the fruits that I'm selecting are low fructose fruits, like your lemons, your grapefruits, right? So I incorporate that each day without fail, right? Because I then don't have to worry whether my lunchtime and my dinner am I eating enough vegetables. So I want to take that headache off me first thing in the
morning. Get it out the way.
During my lunchtime, I would eat any food, but just without any processed food for me. Back to eating simple things, nothing complicated. All right. And for me, dinner, I will go lighter. I will go half the portion of what the amount I'm eating for lunch, and I will have my dinner before 6 p.m.
Okay.
So this is really important. Again, all of us have been told this wrong tip. What is that tip? Have your dinner before 8. Now, it's wrong. You go to bed at 12, right? Our body has not even fully broken down or digested the food that you had over dinner, guess what? When you are sleeping, your body, our body would still be technically processing. It's just that it's very slow. It's trying to break down the food. Now, and what happens then is, number one, the food that has not been fully processed, digested, it stores into fat. It becomes your fat. Secondly, you will wake up next morning feeling super tired, right? Desi, have you ever tried having a very heavy meal? Or do you ever have a situation where next morning you feel like, when you wake up, you feel like very tired? Have you ever experienced that before?
Yeah, many times. Yeah.
So, because the body is working really hard to digest it, right? So for me, having early dinner as early as 6 p.m., it's important and it's helped me to have the energy the next day, when I get up. So these are the few very important things that my celebrity friends do and I do. Okay.
Yeah.
And if I were to add in, is drink a lot of water.
Yeah. How much water, Mark? Is there a maximum?
Yeah, there's again, I think a maximum, but there are a few measurements like the person's BMI. But on average, I would say nothing less than 2.5 liters a day. Right. So on a good day, I will be drinking about 2.5 to 3 liters. On days that I'm working out, I will be taking up to even 3.5 liters. So this is the amount of water that I'm taking.
And does it matter, like sipping it throughout the day? Could you like chug a whole lot down early in the morning, or do you think slowly throughout the day is best, or does it matter?
Very good question, right? So first thing in the morning, I would usually take about 500 ml because the body is dehydrated from the whole night, and especially if many of us are sleeping in the aircon, room, or when it's winter, your body tends to dehydrate faster, right? So
Correct.
It's okay when you wake up first thing in the morning to have a big gulp of a huge volume. But throughout the day, I would usually sip them constantly, almost every 10 minutes, and I'll make it really, really convenient that it is in front of me. That is how I start to build habits as well, because, many people struggle with not drinking water, not because of, they don't like water, right? It's simply because, the thought of walking to the pantry, filling it up and all that. So you're so busy at work, you tend to forget about that, right? So I have bottles right in front of my working desk. I have bottles in my car. So it's convenient, right?
Set yourself up to succeed. Yeah, 100%. So Mark, question about like some of the impressive results you've seen in your program, in the work you've done. Like, what have you seen reversed? Because you say your emphasis is on, reversing chronic conditions. Can we really reverse chronic conditions? Which is, I'm sure, a question a lot of people will have.
Absolutely, right. And again, we are talking about more than 5,000 patients, and these numbers are audited, right? A lot of companies, and I'm also, not to discredit anyone, but many companies out there that they say, you have helped many people lose weight and all that, but these are all fluff, right? So our numbers are validated by our government. I'm not sure about how other countries' governments are, but definitely when it comes to Singapore, it is a country where the government are very, very strict with everything, with compliance, right? So we are proud that our organization has this. Now, coming back to your question, right, is can you really reverse the chronic conditions? Yes. Now, if you think about it, right, and let's talk about facts first, right? Genetically, if I were to take an example of diabetes, right? So there are two types of diabetes. You got type 1 and type 2. Now, unfortunately, if you're type 1, you're at 15% globally, right? There's nothing much you can do, right? You can only try to manage that sugar level in your body. If you are type 2, it's not genetic. It's basically from what the family has been eating their whole life. If their parents are going to eat a bunch of crap, guess what? Your kids are going to growing up, eating the same thing that you have eaten, right? And then that's what say, it's genetic. No. So we have successfully reverse. Patients with diabetes type 2, right? More than 1,000 of them, where their sugar reading go down from 10 to 8 to 6. So this is possible. Now, if you talk about chronic conditions like high cholesterol, fatty liver, blood pressure, this is again something that we have done over the years, thousands of them that people on medication get off medication. This is a lifestyle disease. And I want to emphasize this again to all your audience that are listening to this interview, right? It is a lifestyle disease. You don't grow, you don't, when all of us are born, we don't born with high cholesterol, right? Because of the food that we eat, you know? So yes, this can be reversed. So yeah, again, the answer is yes. And you might be thinking, Mark, if this could be reversed, then why all of us have not been told?
That's my next question, actually. Yeah. Why are we not taught this? Why is this not common practice anymore at this point?
The pharmaceuticals are selling you a bottle of pills that is worth $80 that lasts you for half a month. Today, all of us find that the answer is just so simple. Like you just go to the, to the wet market or your supermarket and get some vegetables and you eat this amount and your problem goes away. What happens to all these big companies? Now, and going to the doctors, I'm not saying all doctors are bad or evil, but doctors invest, and it's fair, right? They spend so much money going to medical school, right? They are indebted, most of them, unless they come from a rich family background, for at least the first few years of their life, working as a doctor. You got to work in a government hospital first before you're able to open your own private clinic. Where does all the money come? They got a life to support. They got to pay all their education loans, right? So if you come to me each time for a consultation and I charge you $50 just to check your measurement and I say, hey, come back to me next 2 weeks again. I'm going to see how your reading is. It's still bad. I recommend you take these pills or these supplements, right? That is where the money is, and again, probably some of the audience here would find that this is something that you can't accept it. But again, this is the brutal truth, right? If it was so easy, which is the case, why have we not been told this? Because everything that links with money, it is very political, all right? But again, this is not only something that I've discovered. Many health practitioners today that are coming out to preach and educate, the society that there is a way, right? I've got many amazing doctor friends who are doing this as well, right? So again, which camp, if a health practitioner that is watching this interview or listening to this, which camp do you belong to? Do you really want to help your patients to heal? Or are you on a quest to just milk money from your patients? For me, the answers are there, the signs are there. It's just that people are refusing to listen to it.
Wow. So you totally are disrupting the industry from everything you're saying, which is, that's a good thing sometimes.
Yeah, because again, right? I mean, I'm not just for the sake of disrupting it.
Yeah, of course.
The whole thing is this. Understand this underlying thing. Medications are there to suppress your problem. It doesn't solve the root cause, right? If you have a blood pressure condition, when you take your medication, it's going to help you to manage it. But ultimately, you still got to solve the fundamental problem, right? And solve the fundamental problem. What is it? No point you are eating a bunch of junk food, fried food every single day, and you say, I want to be healthy, and you're popping pills.
Yeah.
The problem is still there. You got to fix the root cause. Then it doesn't lead you to taking more medications. It doesn't get you through to the path that you want to avoid in the first place. So I see that. I mean, it's sad. Again, like I say, it's sad that medical practitioners, even governments or large organizations are trying to paint a different picture for the society, for all of us over the decades, right? But the good thing now is that more and more people are more educated. Information is now accessible at our fingertips, right? So I think that is the good part. So the thing is that, again, right, do we choose to follow? I don't expect anyone to believe it, but why not give it a try? What is there to lose? Worst case, if it doesn't work out, just go back to your medications. But if this could change you from spending that few hundreds or thousands, whether it's government subsidized or not, or whether it's through your insurance, why not? And put aside the money aspect. Every pill out there has a side effect. It's whether do you see it now or you're going to see it in the next 10 years.
That's so true, Mark. So true. Wow. So how important, one final question, is mindset when it comes to health? Is that also part of what you deal with? Because I know it's been a big part for you in your work.
Oh, mindset. It is the entry. It is the core. It is the most essential part to everything. Not only in health, but in business, in your relationships. Everything in life first evolves around our mindset, right? Now, if a person that has the wrong mindset in the beginning, just because of the way how they have been conditioned or because of the environment, then it's really difficult to make that change, right? So if I were to give everyone here a simple example, if you tell yourself that, you know what, I want to lose weight, I want to look good, right? And tomorrow you try ordering a bowl of salad, you eat it, and it tastes horrible, but you're still trying. And then your friends come to you and say, hey, don't eat that, man. That is rubbish, right? Look at me. I can eat anything and I still look good. And your mindset immediately tells you what? Yes, maybe I don't need to do this. I can just follow like the rest of what others are doing. You know, why am I pushing myself to do this? So it's so easy, right? It's so easy to be distracted. It's so easy to think that it's not possible, all right? And then we fail, all right? And I'm speaking from my personal experience because that was the path that I've been through, right? When I was trying to lose weight. Now, but the moment when I shift my mindset, and earlier I was just sharing a talk with a group of people, right? They have different conditions. They are really, really wealthy, but they are on so much medications. And they asked me, Mark, what is that secret, right? What is that secret that you are able to change all of these? I say, I'm not smarter. I'm not stronger. I'm not anything compared to everyone here, right? The only thing that you first got to switch is your mindset. Because it doesn't matter how much organic food you're stocking in your pantry, your kitchen, if your body tells you that, this is crap, right? First thing is that the mindset has to shift. The mindset has to understand that things take time. It's not an overnight success, right? And the more important part is looking from that angle, like, you know what, this is important for me. This is something that is going to benefit me, right? That shift has to happen. And instead of dwelling, you know, on, I'm not happy with what I am looking or I'm feeling at the moment, use that energy, focus on the actions, right? Execution. Stop telling yourself that we want to be healthy, right? And then you don't do it because the mindset is not fully conditioned to say that this is important and this is the things I'm going to be doing every day. So the moment you switch your mindset, put into action. So mindset is everything, Desi.
Yeah, and some of your videos also deal with that, I think. So Mark, if somebody wanted to find you, where would they? I know you're on Instagram, but if you can just give me some basic information of where people can get you or find your products.
All right. So for anyone that is listening here, if you guys want to lose weight fast in 23 days without any supplements, insane exercises, in fact there is none, or horrible diet because you still get to eat, you can go to my website at www.asiajuiceguru.com, or you can always drop me a message at my Facebook or my Instagram account, because I have my team then managing, you know, every response 24/7. So of course we have a few outlets as well in Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Yeah. So you guys can drop by any of our outlets if you happen to be living in these countries or visiting these countries. Otherwise, you can reach us digitally. We're going to be always there to support anyone that needs.
Thank you, Mark. I could talk to you for ages, but one final question before I let you go, because I know you have a pressing schedule, is if you were to leave one important message or insight that you would want people to walk away just holding on to and remembering after this discussion, what would that one thing be that they could take away?
Wow, this is a very good question. Because I'm trying to decide whether should this be for an audience of health or should this be for an audience of entrepreneurs.
Let's do one for each, okay? For the entrepreneurs and the health conscious people. So we're covering both.
Okay, I'll just do one for both.
Okay. That's good.
So if there is one thing that I would leave all of us with here is this. Don't just focus on money or materials. Again, I'm not saying that these are not important. These are important things in the world that we are living in right now to provide you convenience, to provide you quality of life, to provide us many things that, you know, can be accessed by having money. It's important, right? Medical, you know, education. So money is important. Never let anyone tell you that money is bad, money is evil, right? I mean, no, it's not true, right? It's what you do with that money. But it's the whole process that people constantly focus on the shiny objects that we've forgotten what is essential to ourselves. And what are those? Relationships. What are those? We forget loving ourselves. There is this powerful quote that I want to share with you, Desi, and all your audience here is this amazing quote from Dalai Lama. And the quote is, men spend their life building wealth, right? But in the end, spend the wealth to gain health.
Yeah, it's a great quote.
And I never understood that message, right? Until, you know, again, what has happened to my father, what has happened to me. And it makes so much sense now that I look back at it. You know, we work our whole life and eventually you don't get to enjoy it because we're going to spend that money on insurance, medical bills, you're going to stay in the hospital. So guys, to summarize this, one point is this: travel the world in your prime years, not travel hospital beds. Travel the world in your prime years, not travel hospital beds. Because that is what living a rich life is. Not a wealthy life, but a rich life. Life that is filled with experience, life that we do the things that we always wanted to do with our loved ones. Because time is the most valuable asset that all of us here hold. And we are not growing younger each day. We are aging. It is a process that all of us could not avoid. Doesn't matter what Botox you are putting on your face, but the numbers continues to go up, right? So live a quality life that you have always wanted. And no one is stopping you. The only thing that is stopping you or us is ourselves. So that is
absolutely spot on. Thank you. That is amazing. Thank you so much. I just want to keep you on for a second to ask you a question about the book. Just for myself. Okay. Thank you so much, Mark. That was incredible. Let me just stop the recording.